this is the problem, you see. By the time some impulse comes, and before it reaches your consciousness, your emotional brain might have kicked in. You might have slapped the guy or road rage or whatever before you even are aware of it. Think of it, if somebody steps on your foot, right? If it's a child, you might withhold the thing. If it's somebody else, you might just slap, right? If it's a friend, you might hug him or something, I don't know. But this is a problem. Here is one possible solution. Now here I'm really going way out of my depth, okay? Yeah. What if, you follow it, right? There's an impulse coming in. You could actually train this part, which initially goes there, to take some circuit around. So that by the time it comes back, that intellectual part has had enough time to take over it. I suspect that's part of the answer about this thing. And I've just used one word, intention. Alan has talked about things like awareness, attention, and so on and so forth. I think that's part of the value of that mindfulness, that attention to the present moment. I bet you none of us like to live in the present moment because it takes a lot of energy. One of the things I do is I never remember things. Why? Because I know my brain uses up a lot of glucose just to hold things. So I write things down. That's the beauty of being an anatomist, you see. Yeah. Did you know that glucose is used by the muscles and the brain, and yet the muscles don't use glucose? Instead, it uses glycogen, because glycogen is stored glucose in the... It takes extra effort to break down the glycogen, but the muscles don't use the glycogen. Why? Because the glucose is being reserved for the brain. Now you know why I try not to think too much. Just too much energy. So I've broken it up in a way, and I tried to put in words, because after talking to Jonathan and to Alan, you realize they have actually covered some of these. I put them into a mind. Now, if you ask me where the mind is, I can't tell you. Because to me, the brain is a physical product, it's an organ like the kidney or the heart. The mind is not a physical organ or product, it's a process involving various parts of the mind, perhaps, of the brain. So, but go ahead, just one. What I can show you though is where the mind is linked to the intellectual part of the brain, we're pretty sure there is that connection there. That's known as the prefrontal cortex. You see the brain? This is the front part. This part here, that's where they are now focusing things like fMRI and so on and so forth. Because, remember I showed you all those words at the beginning and so on? This is the part that eventually is putting all those words together to make some meaning. That that there's a connection between resilience and consciousness and mindfulness and so on. I purposely put this busy diagram in just to make you realize, you see, normally that green part is the part people think that makes us talk, speak. But actually, even before we do that, there are at least 3 other parts that are sending signals to each other, telling us what to talk and so on. That's what's going on in your mind. It's not just one particular area of the brain that's involved. It's a lot of parts of the brain being integrated. That's the attention, that's the intention, I think. Okay, so this is just another way to show you. I've taken the nerves out. See, same thing. Whether it goes to brain directly or to spinal cord, it always goes through the thalamus. That's the emotional brain.